Hi friends, this is Prashant Surana and welcome to our podcast, The Future of Fintech. In this space, we are going to talk about the next wave and the next areas of fintech and how we are going to see India becoming a global superpower with its fintech ecosystem. We are going to talk about the current trends, the future trends, and how technologies like blockchain, AI is going to shape the future of fintech in India. And I'm going to host some amazing speakers, amazing professionals, and experts, along with regulators who are going to share their deep insights about the fintech ecosystem. And this is a perfect place for you if you're either a builder or you are a working professional or you are a student to learn about the next trends of fintech and how you can benefit by building around this ecosystem. So thank you so much and stay tuned for our first episode, which talks about the CBDC, its ecosystem, and how India is becoming a global superpower with its CBDC ecosystem. Today we have Kamlesh Nagware and we have Madhusudan. We are going to talk about the CBDC and the future of money. So hi, welcome everyone.
Hi.
It's great to have you here.
Likewise.
So let's deep dive into, do you think that the cash is going to disappear in the next 10 years? And what is the impact of central bank digital currency? What exactly is CBDC and where do we see the adoption moving forward?
Yeah. So, hello Prashant and hello everyone. So it's great to be here, and obviously, even in the last 10 years, we have seen how the UPI and fintech actually changes the case ecosystem, and we already even hardly we go to the ATM at the moment. But now, not just the case, but now money is becoming more programmable and more digital, and obviously in not just 10, but in 5 years we will see India will become completely cashless. Even I think we can say not cashless because we already cashless, but it will more become a programmable money kind of infrastructure, and CBDC is going to play that infrastructure role. And what is CBDC? Is a central bank digital currency. So actually, when crypto ecosystem was emerging and everyone building the crypto, then central banks also want to counter that thing, and they created their own digital currency backed by central banks. So CBDC is just the digital currency which is backed by the central banks to counter the crypto ecosystem.
And Madhusudan, what is the impact of CBDC in the overall economy in the coming years? Where do you see that today we have UPI, we have IMPS, we have a very broad fintech ecosystem, and specifically from India's perspective, we are one of the highest adopters of digital fintech. Today we have the DPI infrastructure, we have Aadhaar enabled ecosystem, we have so amazing public infrastructure ecosystem where like everything from your stocks, from your assets, everything is interconnected. So how do you think that this CBDC is going to be different from the UPI we have today, and how the DPI is going to be a big enabler for the CBDC ecosystem?
Coming to the first question that you asked, how it will impact. See, it was just transformational shift that has to happen anytime soon. It's like earlier we had only, 100 years ago we had only bicycles, motorcycles. Now we have cars, faster cars in the way. This is also nothing wrong. People are not manipulating as everybody is thinking. This is nothing but just turning the real currency into e-currency rather than printing. For example, if you have to take 50,000 to Kolkata, some place that you don't know, some remote area, or 1 lakh rupees, you will fear about carrying the money. Now you will not have when it is e-currency, because currency is no more existent. Will not be any more in existence. Only thing that will be in existence is your money, but in your wallet, in your personal wallet. So exactly like carrying your purse, you will be carrying a personal wallet within your phone, which nobody else can access, even the banks, and you will just go and give somebody money or pay for your bills. So it should always come as a transformational shift, but we are very happy that India will be the first country to experience a wholesome transformation earlier than many other countries, many other developed countries in fact.
Let's deep dive and let us understand that why governments need CBDC. Right, today across UPI ecosystem, we all know it's like super connected. We have almost real-time settlements. India is processing more than 1.2 billion transactions every day. And the scale at which it is increasing is amazing. Of course, with this, we are seeing a lot of cyber frauds happening. We are also seeing that the movement of digital money is becoming more and more difficult to trace when we talk about public subsidy as a use case, or when we are talking about any other subsidies across the public policies, right? So why RBI is pushing so much? We are seeing the RBI governor pushing for CBDC, right? He is emphasizing on the need of CBDC for de-dollarization. He's emphasizing on the CBDC and saying that this will basically unlock the next generation of asset movement across the ecosystem, and it will make India more global. Right. So, Kamlesh, from your perspective, why governments need CBDC and why RBI is pushing for CBDC?
I think for the in India perspective, even there's a many counter question to government and RBI as well. Like we have a very strong digital payment infrastructure like UPI processing billions of transactions. Why we need CBDC? And I think and this is a question for everyone in the ecosystem to understand. CBDC is just not payments; it is completely fundamental infrastructure to build on top of it. So it could be use cases like programmable money. It is adding the cybersecurity layer. Even it is solved many government beneficiary schemes using the programmable money. Let's say there are many state government or central government subsidy programs now disbursed via CBDC, PCBDC technically. So I think government is just not building a payment infrastructure, and you should not relate to this payment infrastructure because currency and payment both are separate. Maybe even future the CBDC infrastructure could enable the UPI payments, and so this is one reason. Second, seeing the geopolitical situation and the de-dollarization kind of situation, I think every central bank like India, whether China, they want to build their own sovereign currency infrastructure and enabling the cross-border payment settlement, because at the moment all this cross-border payment infrastructure driven by SWIFT, and this is also the one SWIFT company based in Zurich, right, Switzerland, right, and also is a lots of frictions in the cross-border payment, and India is the highest receiver of the remittance, and we are paying lots of fees to the remittance as a fee. So I think this is another use case where the cross-border payment could be solved using CBDC infrastructure, and I think so this is second, and third is all about the monetary policies, because at the moment whatever the currency the transaction happening is maybe not visible to the government or policy makers. But if everything becomes digital and transparent, then this could be derive the monetary policy in an effective way. I think that's why government is pushing CBDC as a fundamental infrastructure for solving issues in the currency ecosystem, not just payments.
So there are two angles to it. One is that a macroeconomic perspective, like looking at India from a macro lens point of view. Today, we are dependent on the ecosystem which is built by Western countries, like SWIFT. And because of whenever there's a shift in the geopolitical scenarios, this could get impacted. Like, for example, US or any other country could use to sanction India, like how they are doing with Iran and other countries. So having our own infrastructure, which is like CBDC, can potentially prevent us from becoming a part of those sanction and everything, and it will not affect our economy. So from a safety and the financial security point of view, CBDC is a weapon which India could use when needed.
Yeah, and that's why I think RBI governor keep asking to neighboring countries to faster or speed up the CBDC development and integrate with the cross-border payments.
So the best is that it's the answer to the global sanctions, number one. And number two, from a common man's perspective, whoever living outside India or living in India, it could basically give them more value for money. So today, as you've spoken about the remittance, right? So we are paying huge fees in remittance, right? Potentially like 3 to 10, 20%. And this would help common man or the receiver to be more benefited because they are going to get more value for their money. And this is going to unlock the hidden unspent power which potentially today is being lost to all American companies like PayPal, Swift, and all these ecosystem. And the third thing what you are talking about from a very common man point of view
is a programmable subsidies.
programmability side of things. So Madhu, you have spent a lot of time in understanding about CBDCs, right? You have worked with IDRBT, you have worked with so many other regulators. And one interesting point here is that using CBDC for public good. So what is those regulators standpoint of view, and where do we see that this is going to benefit the common man? Like if you look at the UPI, it took a lot of time to understand and analyze that where a common man would get benefit from UPI, right? India as a country was very happy with the cash economy itself. We never thought about being completely, digital. But a common man sees now a lot of benefit with the UPI. True. So what are the benefits we are going to see for the common man?
See, earlier we were just very orthodox when it comes to physical money. We used to cling to physical money, but UPI brought that shift, as you mentioned, really, because COVID was the catalyst which expedited the UPI movement, because we cannot touch or exchange money due to the exchange of virus or bacteria. So what exactly happened is, after once experiencing the UPI, everybody was liberated from having the troubles of cash in their hand. If you give me 500 rupees, now I have to change for chutta, I have to search for the change, which is again a hectic task. Some businesses used to have a daily routine of going to banks and getting change for their customers earlier. Now they don't have a problem. They want 19 rupees 50 paisa, they'll get 19 rupees 50 paisa. In the same way, there should be some transformational movement which will tell them what are the advantages of a policy or a new shift, and help them also through the journey. That is where government policies will both explain and help common man from CBDC. First of all, for example, there are a lot of people, as per data also, there are a lot of people in India who are above the threshold or poverty line, but who are enjoying a lot of subsidies and facilities that are provided by governments. When the currency turns into e-currency, it will be very clear that who is underlying, whom we should support, whom we should cater. Government will clearly understand. If Madhu should not be catered, and Madhu is catered earlier, now that mistake won't happen. The money will reach the right people. So that can be eliminated. Second, mostly, for example, villages में जो under poverty है, उसको monthly they are giving some 2,000 rupees. Let's just say that they are giving 2,000 rupees for their midday meals. Few people don't eat. They will just drink and go create ruckus in society and in their families. Now this, as sir mentioned, there is a beautiful word called programmable money. I can program it to use it only in government canteens.
Wow.
Wherein you can only go and have food with that money.
Yeah, right.
There is no misuse. You will not go for betting. You will not go for illegal activities with that money. You will not destroy or disturb your family. It is benefiting your health also, because you are eating food properly, because after 30 days this pension money of 1 month is going to be lapsed. So these kind of advantages will help both the customer to understand how it can be useful for betterment of their life and society. And also, if I tell you that you will get that 2,000 rupees only if you have e-wallet, you are bound for the transform shift. And once every common man got absorbed into that ecosystem, it will be very easy to shift the upper layers of society.
And I think same thing could be applicable to the education loan or agriculture subsidies, because I also came from village. So for example, maximum subsidies goes to farmers utilized for some different purpose.
Yes.
Even they are maybe doing marriage of their children, or whether they're buying any motorcycle, but not spending for the agriculture inputs.
True.
So if this is given as a CBDC to them, then you can control the money they're going to spend on the respective purpose only. Kind of, even there's another word could be used, a purpose bound money.
Yes.
Wow.
Beautiful.
So what we are saying is that, like, today in the economy, though we have the very big digital infrastructure, there's a very big leakage. The money is not being spent for the public good. There are leakages at the giver's side, which is the government, and there are also the leakages at the consumer side or at the public side. So the subsidies or the money what they are getting for specific purpose, it's not being used or utilized in the right way. So with CBDC and programmability, the money can be programmed to be used for that particular purpose. Hence, those leakages in the economies could be fixed.
Even I can add one point more here. So in couple of discussion in the government, I have idea like the various government department pushing banks and RBI pushing them to adopt this purpose bound money in every scheme. For example, recently Amit Shah launched in Gujarat for PDS system using this programmable money. So because government want to curb this corruption, or maybe government want to reduce or actually getting the right benefit to the right people.
So the benefit from the end public policy standpoint of view or from the public point of view, it could be reached to the right people.
Correct.
And there could be like a monitoring and the accountability both at the government side and also at the public side.
Yeah.
But don't you think that with more digitalization, right, like we have seen with more digitalization, more cyber frauds are also happening? Don't you think that the CBDC potentially could enable, more cyber frauds also in a way? Or it could be like a weapon to monitor and track cyber crimes in a more effective way. Like today, if you look at the overall, statistics in India, there are more than 1 crore cyber fraud cases which is actually pending, right? And crores of rupees every year is lost. It's becoming very difficult for the government to track because there are multiple layers across whenever this cyber fraud or a crime happens. And day by day, the volume or the quantum of cyber frauds is increasing with more digital adoption. And when you talk to a lot of people, they are also scared at times ki, whether should I keep so much money in my bank or not? What are the remedies I should have whenever such incidents happen? So what are the, advantages with CBDC in tracking these frauds? Will it be a booster for these frauds, or will it be like a weapon or a brahmastra to, track all these frauds and give faster remedies and a redressal to the public? So what do you think, Kamlesh and Madhu, from your experience or from what you know about CBDC, right? Ki how it can help in tracking frauds?
Okay, so let me go first. So actually, obviously with the digital payment or digital infrastructure, it will create the cyber security issues with what is happening in the digital payment. And I think nowadays producer is becoming very smart with the technology itself, and now even AI adoption, it is becoming more powerful. So obviously this digital adoption will have a challenge, but I think CBDC is another layer which work on a blockchain layer and have the authenticity, ownership, transparency and traceability is inbuilt. So obviously if the users are not following the right user guidelines, right, then some fraud can happen. But after fraud, it is very easy to track and identify and even block the transaction, compared to which is very difficult in a payment and banking ecosystem, because this is some wallet address. Like how, if you think about how you can block the transaction in cryptocurrency, something can easily be done here because it's a token, is not actual money. So reducing fraud could enable via the CBDC infrastructure.
Madhu, would you like to elaborate from a
Yeah, there are a couple of things that we need to think about this. First of all, we are 140 billion, 1.4 billion population. So the number of frauds that are happening in India are actually comparatively very less when compared to many other countries after digitization. But since our population is high, we'll see the numbers as high, but in percentage level, we are below the normal average line globally. But since the earnings are also very small, the impact on the families will be very high. That's why government started it from backward integration. They first started developing an ecosystem upon which they are developing CBDC or payments or UPI. So now if you see, earlier banks used to be .coms or .ins. Now they created a absolutely new domain called as .bank.in. Earlier we used to have hdfcbank.com, ICICI.com. Now we have something called ICICI.bank.in. This bank.in domain is managed by government.
Correct.
Nobody else can get it. You cannot buy it in GoDaddy or any other name service providers. And the entire registrar, I mean, this domain is maintained by some person or some method called registrar, is managed by government. So if you are getting any links for payment, or if you are getting any requests of payments from your subscriptions or anywhere, now every link which is associated to bank will come with .bank.in. So in the same way, they are also developing infrastructure for stopping the frauds as we go forward in CBDC. So I think if CBDC comes into play, cyber threats and cyber attacks, thefts will also decrease predominantly, is what I believe personally.
But how it can help in speeding of the investigation process? Like today, if you look at the traditional how cyber fraud happens, is that A transfers money to B, maybe B promises for some goods and services, B maybe let's say doesn't deliver, or let's say even B delivers, right? And A has fraudulently filed complaints against B stating that he has been scammed. Now, the A will go to a cybercrime police and he will say that, okay, I have been fraud, I have been conned. This is what it happens. And the decisions what cybercrime department takes today is that they freeze all the layers of the entire transaction, sometimes up to 10, sometimes up to 15, sometimes up to 25. And now when we want to, or when this A and B wants to get a redressal, there's a very big dependence on the ecosystem, right? The A's bank is different, B's bank is different, B has sent that money to C, D, E, Y, Z, and it just like becomes bigger and bigger. Now we have a limited bandwidth on the cyber department side, right? There's a very bigger problem for government to track these frauds. So how it can help in investigation, how it can actually save a common man the harassment which they face during the investigation, and then how it can streamline it and how it can also make government's job easier. So what do you think that this programmability feature can fast track the entire investigation process? Like it can fast track the entire investigation process, and it can be a faster redressal mechanism to everyone in the ecosystem.
I think from the even starting point, if there's a concept like payment versus delivery, or delivery versus payment, even that can be plug in whenever any transaction is happening between any buyer and supplier, right? And CBDC, because it's a token, it could enable that thing. So this is one place. And second, like because this is token and this is some like wallet address, see, it's very easy to freeze that token address and very easy to see the trail, because the underlying the ledger is one common ledger, right? So it's very easy to, let's say in a payment, in a banking normal, there is every bank has a different system, different IT system, different vendors, and getting all data is very silos manner. But in a CBDC is one common ledger, and you can see all the transaction happening on one common ledger, and you can easily, let's say, block this user address to this user address. Very, very simple. And you can actually share the proof of the transaction via sharing this transaction, transaction hash on the ledger. So this could be done, and I think this could be the way to solve such kind of issues.
So basically what you are saying is that with CBDC, we are going to have one universal ledger of records.
Correct.
And this universal ledger of records is going to have like a unique ID to every single transaction. Even there's going to be a unique ID to every single money on the ecosystem, like how
Correct,
we have,
correct, yeah.
Unique
Every money is a
note
token.
number to every physical currency today.
Correct, like this.
So we are going to have a unique ID to your money in the digital environment. You are going to have a unique ID to every single transaction. You are going to have unique identifiers to every single parties across the transaction. So whenever such transactions are taking place with just this unique ID, the entire chain could be tracked. And today, the things which are in silos are going to be into one universal, very big database, and it could be tracked and monitored very easily.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And also, I just want to add one thing sir mentioned, already told, but it was encrypted. Sir mentioned that it is based on blockchain technology.
Yes.
The fraud that is happening today on blockchain technology compared to native technologies or native money is not even 1%.
Okay.
Because every person, every block is a ledger there. Every block will have data of all the transactions. So we can validate 3 of our data. For example, if 3 of us are in one transaction, we can validate 3 of data and see who is telling true and who is false. You might manipulate the code in your block, but you can't change something that is in ours.
Correct.
So blockchain works in that way, proof of concept, proof of stack. So it has various different methods, but the level of fraud that can happen on blockchain is very less. Second point is that the digital money that we are talking about is very easy to trace now. You can block even up to 5 levels in one click. I can tell that wherever this transaction is forwarded, block all of them.
Understood. So essentially what you are saying is that the money is going to be smart because we are going to have something called smart contracts in place. So the parties can create their digital contract, and whenever the terms and conditions are met at a contractual level, the transactions will get settled without any intermediary. And the lot of frauds which happens and the lot of cost associated with the entire escrow mechanism what we have today can be reduced to a lot of level, like it would be basically be almost zero itself.
Almost. Not just escrow, anything that is related to bank is going to come down to zero. The effort, not just the money. We might draw 1 lakh cash and we might pay 100 rupees. I'm not talking about that 100 rupees. It's the effort that you have to travel to bank, make a journey, wait in the lines, take permission. Sometime manager might not be available. So all this will be eliminated. In a simple go, you can do escrow. Your company, my company doing an agreement, escrow is what we follow today. That can be done in seconds tomorrow.
Wow. So this brings me to another question. Now today, from business point of view, we are seeing a lot of shift in the way the money is being consumed, right? I mean, we are seeing a lot of shift at the consumption level of customers. Now the rewards and the loyalty ecosystem, if you look at today, right, it's also very siloed. Do you think that the CBDC is also going to unify or omnify the entire reward and the loyalty space? Like you were seeing a lot of credit card adoption and the penetration in India happening at a double-digit growth month on month. The consumerism is like growing massively. And people and every consumer don't want to miss out on the potential reward. Like today, if I'm using my credit card or anything, I really, a lot of times I just miss out on the benefits, and it's becoming very difficult for me to track. So this smart contract, this escrow, and this programmability of my money will also benefit consumers, driving better consumerism and get more benefits across the ecosystem.
Yeah, so I think, so if we see the current, how the loyalty and reward point system works, it is also completely working in silos, right? Every brand giving their own reward point and is not interoperable with any other system, right? Any other thing. And second, this is first issue. And second issue is all about the efficiency of implementation. So if I'm talking about the Sodexo card, any of the corporate expense management card, right? All this whether it is offered by MasterCard or Visa, and they take some charges. And what they do some kind of purpose bound money there only. Let's say, for example, corporate expense management, this card only used for the corporate expense. This same thing can be very effectively done on the CBDC, especially the programmer CBDC side, because you can same card, you could enable the purpose of the money, or limit the money. All can be done in a very effective way using the CBDC.
In the same wallet you are carrying.
Yes, same wallet, right? Second, also the efficiency of, let's say, paying fees to MasterCard and Visa, I think they take almost 1%.
Up to
For
2%.
2%, right? So now the same bank and same fintech can offer this service to users very effectively in less cost on the same infra and same wallet. No need to bring a separate card and separate wallet.
And understand the level of money even those organizations will be saving doing this.
Correct.
I need not print cards for Sodexo every month, or I need not have a special infrastructure to add money to all
Correct.
those
Loyalty point, all the thing.
we have a single unified wallet which is given by RBI, approved by RBI banks.
Correct. And I think is not just theory, is already happening. So
Happening.
I think Yes Bank, or I think Yes Bank did doing the same thing for the corporate expense management. They replaced their existing card vendor to using the CBDC as a.
So overall, even like the small businesses like SMEs and MSMEs will be able to, drive their own reward structures, more loyalty structures. They can basically push for more retainership of their consumers. Consumers would be benefited like in real time, without a lot of hassle of, going to their net banking or their credit cards, copying codes, etc., etc. Everything like can be implemented just on the go. The overall flow would become much easier. So Madhu, do you also think that, let's say from a farmer's standpoint, right? Today, if we look at, farmers, and India is like more like an exporting economy in terms of agriculture. We see a lot of, mismanagement of payments, like there is a lot of harassment to farmers also. So today, whenever the farmers is shipping goods from point A to point B, they don't get paid in time. They basically, a lot of parties, they just commit some kind of a fraud. There is no proper proof of fund mechanism in place. So do you think that the CBDC can also unlock and, also benefit to farmers in their, overall agriculture and their overall business process?
Yes, I mean, in my vision of next decade, 5 to 10 years from now, it will be as you just said. See, there are already couple of farm fresh kind of concepts who are paying farmer directly from consumer's pocket. These are just middlemen. In the same way, if a farmer in Punjab is selling sugarcane or wheat to Middle East, somebody who is doing this entire transaction is a middleman.
Right.
So, as I told, escrow can be done in a minute. Global wire transactions can be done in a minute. So, the minute I load my wheat here, my escrow will be activated and the payment made will be directly, my part will come to me. So this is how I think the future of transactions in any segment, not just agriculture. Any sector will be transformed
And I think in agriculture there could be another new business model can emerge. One is, let's say, carbon credit.
Right.
No, so you can easily enable the carbon credit generation using the, let's say, agriculture. And so I think this is also done by a couple of banks in Maharashtra using the CBDC infrastructure. You can easily create a CBDC token which is backed by any of the carbon footprint reduction.
One more major thing would be unorganized sector will be is already increasing and will be gradually increasing hereafter in India, because gig workers and part-times, earlier how many kids when we are very young, we never had part-times, but a lot of young kids I see doing part-times, having their own pocket money kind of stuff. So if it is a unified wallet, every rupee that they are receiving is audited. That doesn't make them any difficult to do what they are doing right now, but it will give them more credit score from earlier stages. It will give them more credit acceptancy. They can really understand when to help them. Banks, for example, there's an auto driver, he is getting cash earlier. He used to get cash earlier, now he is getting UPI, but there is no taxation or there is no proper audit on it.
Right.
Now there is no need to audit. I clearly know how much money he is getting over past 1 year.
Yes.
Now I'm happy to know whether I can give you a 3 lakh loan or not for improving your business.
Got it.
Because I can clearly see the cash flow.
Yes. So what you're saying is that the number one is that from a farmer's standpoint of view, there is a dependency on a lot of middlemen. and these middlemen just they are bridging or they are doing the role of building the trust from point A to point B. They take a lot of money in the process as a commission and time also, and the benefit is not directly being passed to the farmers, and this thing will reverse. So you won't need any more middlemen or brokers to build the trust. Things could be in a real time way, and this is going to be a massive impact on the farmers. And on the other side, the overall like the economy or like everyone in the economy today, they suffer a lot of abuse of credit score and power, because this is like concentrated in very few organizations in India, and the dependency or the abuse of these organizations on this common man will get reduced, and we can potentially see more avenues for them for a better access to money, and that too at a cheaper rates, right? Like they don't have to go and beg private financiers or even the banks to give them loan. They can have better access and the uniform access to the credit score, which is like more real time and everything. But I have another point of view as well. Like while we see so much advantages for CBDC, we are seeing countries like US passing a CBDC ban bill. They say that the CBDC is going to affect the privacy. I mean, with CBDC, there's not going to be privacy anymore. I mean, a lot of times people use cash for a privacy, like from a private transaction point of view. They don't want to have like any records of any such transactions, right? So why do you think that the US is kind of banning CBDC and passing all these regulations? In a true sense, is there going to be an impact on the privacy of transactions with CBDC, or governments are going to be more powerful because they will like control your money in real time? Governments can decide how and where to spend your money, like we are seeing in China that they are issuing money with an expiry date. I mean, like now your money comes with an expiry date is like ridiculous, right? Like you just have to either spend your money or your money will vanish. So do you think that such kind of abuse of power could potentially happen, and why US really wants to kind of ban CBDC? What are the privacy issues around CBDC, and how from an Indian perspective or from India's perspective, what is the kind of approach RBI is taking where the sovereignty and the democracy can also be maintained?
Okay, here three questions. So first about US, I think my perspective, I think US banned the CBDC because they don't want to support the de-dollarization ecosystem, because rest of the countries very powerfully building the CBDC infrastructure, and they want to create the cross border between this thing, and this will actually create the monopoly actually, right? So at the moment, like every trade deal is happening by a dollar, but think about if every country is running the CBDC infrastructure, and the CBDC infrastructure could be used as a cross border payment, then there is no need of the dollar as a mediator. So that's why I think US, and I think I seen some phenomena about like there are lots of discussion in the ecosystem is about like maybe US is trying to reduce their debt using the stable coin. That's why every stable coin in USDT, all this thing dollar backed. So they want to make lots of tokens of stable coin, and then they will kind of convert their debt in a kind of, and that's why I think they are almost $30 trillion debt, which so they want to reduce the debt using the stable coin in crypto ecosystem, right? This is first. Second, about the privacy question. So obviously it will relate with blockchain. The people say is a public ledger, it is visible to other stakeholder, but that is totally depend on the implementation architecture, how you implementing it, right? There are various approaches. There are various features in blockchain like private data collection or the privacy, zero knowledge proofs, all things is there. So there is a concern in the China privacy thing. That is how the China implemented in for their citizens, because they always believe in a surveillance or want to control the money. But if you building the right approach and you want to take care about the privacy of people, like how the India implemented. So they are not implemented CBDC as a global ledger or anybody can see any transaction, They divided it. Even the RBI can't see the transaction what you and I'm doing on CBDC. So is a hybrid approach. So only CBDC issuance and redemption is happening on the CBDC ledger, which is shared by RBI and banks. An actual peer-to-peer transaction or peer-to-merchant transaction, it is happening off-chain of that main ledger. So technically, and they're calling it a cash-like privacy. How I'm withdrawing money from ATM, only that is being recorded.
Right.
But after when I'm giving you 1,000 rupees to cash, it is not recorded, not seen by any bank or any RBI. The similar thing they implemented in a CBDC infrastructure. So only when currency issued to banks and bank is giving to the user, it is recorded on the ledger for the authenticity verification. But when user doing transaction, this is not recorded on the ledger. It is only the bank transaction.
So basically, the privacy what I have with cash, with the Indian e-rupee or the Indian CBDC ecosystem is going to be the same.
Correct.
So only the issuance part and the redemption part is going to be recorded on the blockchain ledger.
Yeah, recorded, and that's needed as well. Otherwise, how are you going to authentic whether these tokens are coming is correct or not? Anybody can create their own token digitally and then share to you. But how are you going to authenticate whether this token is real?
And on one side, we are seeing that the US is banning CBDC, but they are pushing more for private stable coins. Like banks like JP Morgan and Chase, they are issuing their own currency, own dollar. We are seeing Goldman Sachs issuing their own currency, and eventually every US bank is now issuing their own currency or their own dollar. Even we are seeing Donald Trump has his own Liberty Financial issuing its own dollar, right? So Madhu, don't you think that while this entire architecture of CBDC ecosystem is hybrid, but we have seen the current government and its agenda, right? I think they want to have, I personally think that they want to have more surveillance on how people are consuming money, like the complete anti-money laundering laws, the surveillance level. And I personally feel that the government is, getting into a lot of intricacies of how the money is being spent into the economy, right? So do you personally think that there could be abuse of power with CBDC? Like the governments can, unauthorizedly use their power, freeze your bank accounts, do anything they want without any justification.
They can do that even now. What is the difference that we are talking? We think that people cannot trace the 1,000 rupees that you used on pav bhaji at the road, and they know it. If they want to know it, they will know it even today. It's not a difficult task. But we shouldn't think so narrowly. This is nothing but just, we should not take CBDC as something extraordinary or something to violate public laws. That will not happen. Citizens' freedom will be intact. It is just your money in your own private wallet in your phone. None of the banks or RBI is telling to have money in their accounts. Have money only in their wallets. They are asking, there are also private wallets. You can keep it in them and use it as you want. First of all. Second, this is not an open blockchain for sharing the data to everybody. This is a closed blockchain, which, as sir mentioned, even RBI cannot access it. And we are neither of those communist or capitalist regime. We are a pure democratic regime, and people are not fools in India. We have enough freedom to revolt. We have enough freedom to express our dissatisfaction with the government, and it's fine in this country. So such kind of stuff will not work in India. So we need not worry about that at a country level. But other side, we should always think about the cost that is happening in handling the current regular cash.
Okay.
See, for printing 1 rupee coin, we are spending 1 rupee 16 paisa.
Right.
So we are already in losses.
Yes.
Just by printing it. Again, not just the printing. You have to send it to bank, keep it in ATM. For ATM, you need to have a vehicle. It should come from a chest. From chest, it will come in a van with a security guard, with a driver, with 2 cash handlers, one to fill it. So everything is a cost. This is called as distribution cost.
And also the fake and the black money
exactly.
Also the thing. So you must be hearing like there are government officials are having crores and 1,000 crores in the cash. Think about it, become completely digital. Then if you,
so it will be available. They have to move it. So there will be more liquid floating in the market, giving more chances to other people, new jobs, new opportunities. And the cost of printing this distribution, including cost and printing, a 1 rupee coin is costing around 1 rupee 65 paisa. You are on 65% loss already.
Got it.
There is a printing cost.
Whose money is that?
Correct. And
you are worried about your money and your traceability. Whose money is that? That 65 paisa.
And I think the fake currency as well, right? There are number of fake currencies being generated.
So, I was reading some interesting fact about the overall cash management. India has the second largest ATM connectivity in the world. India operates 2.5 lakh ATMs. RBI spends thousands of crores in destroying the cash, which is like boiled notes.
Correct.
Or damaged currency. The logistics or the cash logistics market in India is like more than 10,000 crores.
Yes.
So, which means like more than 10,000 crores of public money could be
utilized,
saved
correct,
and utilized in a better way.
Hmm.
And of course, the cost of issuance, cost of keeping, cost of handling, the overall logistics cost would be reduced in a drastic way. So overall, we see more of like the positive side of CBDC than the negative side, and what West is, especially America is trying to, say to the world that, we don't want to promote CBDC, we are anti-CBDC, etc., etc. It's just a gimmick to kind of, enable their capitalist regime to issue their more private currencies which are not sovereign in nature, and which is like more dominating and more controlled. So don't you think that eventually in coming years will bank really become absolute? I mean, like, do we really need banks tomorrow, or we won't need any banks at all because everything would be controlled more digitally? Consumers or the holders of the money will have more powers today. I mean, the way we are discussing and the way the things are moving, we are even saying that we don't even need banks for doing escrows. We won't even need banks to basically settle payments digitally, right? Like today, the entire UPI system is operating on banks. There is like so many participants in the ecosystem to settle the money, and they are all going to be absolute. So, what do you think, that will the banks become absolute in coming years, or bank will become bigger and bigger, and there's going to be more opportunities for banks to utilize this ecosystem?
Yeah. So I think bank is not going to disappear. So even but it will change the nature of the business. It will become more fintech. So think of tech centric or the services and fintech services. So even if you see the CBDC pilot and POC, which is RBI doing, so they are not doing alone. They are always having a 24 banks as part of it, right? I think not 21 banks, right? And more banks coming. So, and I think it's all about the implementation approach. So let's say there are approaches like hybrid and direct. So in the Bank of Cambodia, they have a direct plus hybrid mix. So anybody can open a direct account with the Central Bank of Cambodia and access it, and can open with the banks as well. But in India, the RBI very straightforward. They are not dealing with CBDC directly. You need to go via the banks only.
Okay.
So how the money distributed in a cash using ATMs. Now the same CBDC will be distributed via the banks only.
Okay.
So bank will be the custodian of your currency technically, and it will be becoming a distribution channel.
So essentially, banks are not going to go anywhere in the
Correct.
next, few years.
Correct.
The overall banking infrastructure or the digital ecosystem is going to get stronger only as we move.
True.
The overall benefits to the customers, to the people of the India and the government are going to be.
Yeah, like earlier, like there's branch service, then ATM service, then now UPI. Now this will be another layer.
So, Madhu, where do you see that the challenges in terms of adoption happening, right? Like, I mean, since we are in this ecosystem, so we know that the CBDC has been existing past like 2-3 years or maybe 4 years. But I see that there is a lot of education gaps. Like even the industry leaders within the ecosystem are confused on that why do we need CBDC, right? We already have UPI, and that clear point in terms of distinction, in terms of consumer education, in terms of ecosystem education is essentially not happening.
True.
And I see there's a lot of gaps in terms of the actual benefit versus the gap in the communication. So where do you see that the overall ecosystem is lacking? Where do we see that these gaps could be bridged? Because even top industry leaders are confused that why this is happening. Like why do we really need it?
I mean, you need to understand why they are so tensed about it. That's the other dark side of cash economy, cash-based economy. Nothing related to CBDC. But coming always, the biggest transformational shift happens when only a common man can adopt it.
Right.
So that's why the challenges here is making more people use it at the fastest possible way. Because the more slower it is, the idea will go dead, or somebody will start raising fake news about it. The general public fear will be continuously growing, which people don't understand because of low awareness among them. That's why what government is doing is something very beautiful. All these schemes, pension schemes, and all public money distribution,
DBT schemes or
DBT
subsidy
schemes, they are sending the money via banks only, wherein they have to open something called as e-wallet. And the reason RBI mentioned in this process was very beautiful. I mean, I really enjoyed the answer. They mentioned that why do you want to do it as a e-wallet? Why don't you do it separately entirely? Then they said, I should ask them again for one more KYC.
Right.
Which now I don't need. They are already a customer of some bank. They are already in some process and they believe that process.
Correct.
Just adding Axis Bank wallet, HDFC, SBI wallet will be very easy, and people will also easily rely, and there is no multiple KYC submissions.
Right.
So through which they are trying to bring the transformation, and also a couple of policies as trials that they are doing in Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Assam, Bihar, UP, which are actively going on as we speak now. They are trying to do as much as possible to transform people and make them understand CBDC, but something like this might take a generation. So our parents might find it very difficult to understand what's happening at ground level, but we are adaptable. By the time the next generation comes into act, next generation means 5-6 years younger to us or 10 years younger to us, if they come into act, they will really understand what CBDC is and they will take it forward. Till then, we need to keep its values.
Yeah. So let me share something on this one, because currently I'm working with IIT Madras and Next Institute of Bank Management and the India Blockchain Forum with extensive research report from last 1 year. This is going to launch in during Global Fintech Festival this year. It is about CBDC adoption and challenges in India. So we're doing extensive research and talking to different banks, even talking to RBI as well, but not quoting them officially because they said no. But we're doing all these things, and we creating like what is the adoption challenges in India and why. And so we couple of things we have figured out. So one is about this privacy concerns.
Right.
The people are not confident about the privacy, and then always RBI keeps saying about is the privacy is maintained. Second is about the UPI layer, financial inclusion, which already have in India. And the CBDC always we were talking about you in the financial inclusion, all this thing, but this is not required. Third is about the cyber related stuff as well, because think about if your currency is completely digital, something happened, something hacked, then someone can control your currency,
Right.
your economy, right? This is another big challenge, because we so you must see like Pakistan or maybe China hacked any of the website. Think about they hacked the currency.
North Korea.
North Korea. Think about it, right? So there is another challenge, and another is a challenge about with the this technology related as well.
Okay.
Scalability is there, whether it's going to scale that much or not, and And the another is the business models. So like banks are currently just asked by RBI to implement the CBDC, but until they not figure out what is the business model around it. Let's say this expense management is a good idea, good use case, or the let's say
Reward
new business
loyalty.
model on top let's say programmability,
Loan.
all these things until bank figure out, then it's become a more adaptive, right? So this is the
Ecosystem should survive.
ecosystem should be created. So these are the couple of challenges which we are going to come out with this report, and everyone knows about it. We're talking, and I think, and let's say even with the UPI right or option, government is still providing subsidies.
True.
So we are doing a free transaction, but it's not free.
Right.
It's around 5 to 10,000 yearly cost. So same thing if we offer to CBDC, you need to adopt CBDC is free and UPI chargeable, then automatically we will in the next 5 years we shift to CBDC.
Right.
And become available.
So this is one interesting point actually, that the UPI is not free.
Correct.
It is like a very big cost to
Yeah.
the ecosystem and to the banks to
Correct.
manage the entire
Correct.
UPI ecosystem. Eventually, when it started, government gave a lot of subsidies and was covering the cost of the overall transaction. But now
Yes.
government is not, because the penetration has hit.
Government is also still giving, but reduce the budget 50%, but they're giving it.
Okay.
But even last year budget also given as 5,000 crore as a subsidy for UPI, which is maybe maintain the cost of infrastructure, all subsidies, whatever. But I think all this fintech company UPI is playing on this data game. They have a lot of data available, and this could be leveraged by any lending company, insurance company to use all this thing. But there is no any MDR. I think there is zero MDR on a
Right.
UPI. But if some merchant transaction is chargeable, but otherwise the MDR zero on UPI.
Yeah, I mean, if you do transactions online through a payment gateway, it's like chargeable. They are charging like 0.25 to 0.5% on UPI.
Is not to charge on UPI.
Huh.
Where is one or two payment gateways are charging on UPI, which is
I think Razorpay charges
No,
like 0.2
no.
to 0.5%
No.
when you pay.
free.
by-
UPI
I
transaction
think
is
maybe some merchant they charge it, I think.
very few of them.
Not the customers, but yeah, like they are charging to merchants, I think. Like
Maybe.
whenever you use UPI on the POS terminals, right? Like you get a QR code on the.
True. POS terminals.
I think they are charging a bit on that.
That is yes.
There's also being charged on the credit card transactions on UPI, right? Like we are seeing a lot of credit cards are being issued.
Especially RuPay card, I think.
Yes, RuPay card. There's like very small amount of money which is being charged. But yeah, I mean, overall, for government to push CBDC, they have to give the same amount of subsidies. They have to give the same
Correct.
amount of benefit what they give UPI earlier to, in order to penetrate it into the ecosystem. So we can see that the awareness would be created when there is a lot of push from the government. There's a lot of push from the fintech players within the ecosystem, majorly the banks, and I think the RBI has to play a quite a big role in driving adoption for CBDCs. So let's talk about the overall CBDC ecosystem today. Like, how big is the CBDC ecosystem in India? What is the role of all the participants within the CBDC ecosystem? Like we have RBI, we have NPCI, we have IDRBT, we have Aadhaar. So what is the overall landscape of CBDC in India for our people and audience to understand? Like Kamlesh, you have spent a lot of time and you are consultant to so many companies within the ecosystem. I think you can give a very good overview of the overall ecosystem.
Yeah, I think CBDC ecosystem, not just in India, is a global CBDC ecosystem. There are more than 134 countries is whether doing in pilot or the implementation or the rollout, and I think India is one among them. And Indian ecosystem is, I think 2022 we launched the two CBDC, one is wholesale, another retail CBDC. And since then, we almost onboarded 21 banks. So all the major banks, private banks and government banks like SBI, SDFC, ICICI is part of the CBDC ecosystem. And here RBI and NPCI is providing the central infrastructure, the central node blockchain node and providing the issuance and management of the token. And banks are more providing the kind of distribution of this currency, this tokens to the retail users. And depending on the which kind of CBDC is a wholesale or retail, different services to the thing. This is that main ecosystem, but around that one there are many service providers like Isnaba Future Tech, like Spydra, Sarvatra, MindGate, many companies who are providing this CBDC infrastructure support and maintenance services. And another layer is different startups who are building on this programmable CBDC or use cases around it. And then another layer is a beneficiary layer where the government, state government are being a customer of the CBDC and implementing those solutions. So I think this is all about the ecosystem, but there are many work is happening in the regulator side or the academia side as well. Let's say IIT Madras is IDBRT as well, sitting on the board of the RBI for CBDC, and multiple different individuals are contributing to the CBDC ecosystem.
So, Madhu, we were having a discussion about the overall global partnerships which RBI is pushing via NPCI and other state-owned organizations. What is the global landscape of CBDC and the partnerships look like today?
See, right now we are just entering in QR payments and unified QR payments as of now, but at bilateral level, I think we already have agreements with 10 plus countries that can use CBDC once it's rolled out. And as per latest, after just before the war, I think more than 30 or 40 countries expressed interest to be a part of CBDC, India's CBDC, making Indian currency the main stepping stone for Asian economy. Is the discussion that is currently active, and which will happen also is what we believe, because everybody is interested to trade, to have India as a middleman for trade, because we are not inclined towards anybody, or we don't do good for somebody and bad for somebody. The world started to believe that India is a good moderator which can support everybody while doing justice to all the parties. So that's a major role. That is helping as a major role in making CBDC and Indian e-rupee a major milestone.
So could you name some of the global countries? Like I know the UAE, I have seen like I have seen like merchant QR code.
I think UAE, Singapore, Nepal, Bhutan, I think
Russia.
Russia as well, I think.
Russia.
So which is like, it is essentially actually helping Russia to bypass all the sanctions and everything, whatever they have. Wow.
Right now we are dealing only in our currencies between India and ruble, but once CBDC forms into place, even that is not required. The exercise to conversion, all this is not required.
So at the overall ecosystem level, we have the beneficiary level, which could be the state governments or any governments, or even the consumers or governments around the world who are getting benefited from the CBDC. We have RBI, whose main role is on the issuance side, on the redemption side, and maintaining the overall governance ecosystem for the CBDC. And then we have banks, which is going to help in the distribution of the CBDC. And then we have technology companies like Snapper, Sarvatra, some of them, who is helping these banks in developing and maintaining their CBDC infrastructure. And then we have other state-owned organizations like Aadhaar, which is going to enable KYC across the CBDC ecosystem. We have NPCI, who is like majorly on the product and on the overall product side of the CBDC. So the ecosystem, and the way it's expanding seems to be quite promising. Now, for the next generation of fintech companies and the fintech entrepreneurs in India who are thinking to build around fintech, what is the right approach they can take in building their use cases, right? Because there is a lot of gray areas also in terms of norms and laws, because CBDC products are like more global in nature. And I think there's going to be a lot of gray areas as well, right? Like there are a lot of startups also within the crypto ecosystem who are talking about bridging the gap using CBDC. and unlock next wave of wealth creation. There's some discussions around asset tokenization. We are seeing like big companies moving towards asset tokenization. So Kamlesh and Madhu, if you're a startup and you are thinking to build the next fintech product or the next fintech unicorn, what is the approach you're going to take? I think we can have two, approaches, maybe one from a business and enterprise point of view and one from a startup point of view.
So I think my perspective, I think we already have a CBDC infrastructure, and RBI opened the unified market interface for startup to build on that layer, right? And also there's RBI Innovation Hub. So if you're building something in fintech, especially on CBDC or the tokenization layer, I think lots of can be done on the lending and credit kind of ecosystem, because still India MSME lending is not reach to the ground level, right? So you can easily build the programmable lending technically. So let's say at the moment you just lend money to someone, and how someone is using that money, and even EMI, if all is given in a CBDC, then it's a very good idea to collect the money as well, and it will enable the more. Another use case, like say, which is RBI doing sandbox, is like deep tier supply chain financing, where you can enable this MSME to raise the funding even if they don't have a very good credit history.
Okay.
So there is an interesting use case which RBI doing with few banks, where they open tokenization of the invoices. Whenever any invoice, let's say for example Tata Motor give invoice to Bridgestone for tires, but now this Bridgestone is getting the material from different suppliers, and those suppliers is not part of at the moment in the credit history. So they struggle, or they may be getting the higher interest rate lending. If this tokens is invoice can be tokenized, and this Bridgestone now give token to the relevant chain, then they can directly get the funding, because this token is issued by Bridgestone and given by a Tata Motor contract. This good ecosystem can emerge out of it.
So Madhu, you have spent more than 15 plus years with SAP powering global ERP systems. What would you build today on the fintech ecosystem in India, and especially using the CBDC as a technology? What do you think?
There are two things that immediately struck my mind when I first thought about CBDC, or when I deep dived into the entire ecosystem. First one is smart contracts. As the use case of CBDC, as it keeps growing on, as we said, programmable coin. So every program is nothing but a smart contract between two entities.
Right.
So smart contracts, whoever starts to understand the ecosystem early and start developing the smart contracts will have an advantage moving forward also. So you should start a company working on blockchain smart contracts based on CBDC network, and because this is a closed blockchain, there will be differences in the structure. So understanding that blockchain structure and starting developing smart contracts would be the earliest move and cost effective company setup that we can start immediately. Second one that I always think is same, just like hierarchy, lower level credit, we can also start validating the product. For example, just take the recent example. I don't know whether I have to take it. Yeah, let's take an example of an iPhone.
Right.
Or some government food plan, midday meals for schools. So is quality product coming or not? How can I trace it back? I can easily trace it back by seeing the money.
Right.
If it is going to certified A-level contractor who is supplying only polished rice 97%, then I think that money served purpose. Then from him, if it is going to quality organic paddy farmers, I can see that we are getting quality food for our kids in government schools. Right. So I can even start monitoring the quality of the goods, not just that. You can think it in private sector also. For example, tomorrow Indian good brands, leather brands might come out and say that our products are pure leather and the zips that we make are also one of the absolute best quality. How can I validate? They can show the trace between them and the genuine leather manufacturing company and then 5-star rated Jeep manufacturing brand, then I can clearly see that the product is authentic.
Right. So basically what you are saying is that the proof of transaction is going to be have a big impact on determining whether quality of the goods are being delivered or services are being delivered or not. So there's a very big opportunities for startups to build around use cases around proof of transactions, maybe build deep level or deep tech analytical company in the product space, maybe to build something around supply chain side using CBDC, using CBDC to build something around credit, lending, mortgages, etc., and also around remittances and asset tokenization. So these are the top-notch hotcake areas, and the best way for them to approach is basically to go to the RBI sandbox and several other government sandbox, which you can apply from their portal. Become a part of the sandbox, you get access to the entire ecosystem of banks, payment gateways, etc., for you to build, and at the same time you can launch your pilot product scale. How startups can build around this ecosystem? Like, are there, what are the grants available at the government level and at the organizations level? Because this space is like very new, and we are not seeing a lot of funding or the VC funding or even angel investors investing drastically into this space, because this is very new.
Yes,
A lot of
niche.
things are uncertain. There is lack of education. So if startups are building, what is the approach they can take? Maybe they can apply through RBI sandbox and everything, but how they can secure a funding to build these kind of companies?
So I think there's no such grant is there from any of the sandbox. But I think if you have a right use case, you can pitch to any bank, and bank is provide you the access of the CBDC APIs, and then you get all the existing banking customer
Okay.
for you. I think so. I think you need to. I think grant is not required if your use case is clearly passing the regulatory and the need of the bank and RBI, then you're good to go.
Understood.
Because you just need to build the front end. Everything is in place.
Already in place.
There's
Okay.
a CBDC layer, there's a token, everything is. You just need to create a user interface, and that can be done very easy with any of the AI tools nowadays. So funding is not required. You need to, and even only able to scale in a first phase, then anybody can give fund.
So basically, what you are saying is that you have sandbox already available with the entire API ecosystem in place to build.
Correct.
And then on the customer side, you already have the banks and their ecosystem,
Correct.
and you can reach out to any bank or apply via sandbox. If all the check boxes are met, they themselves will handhold you and take it to the market.
Correct.
So the lot of problems which any typical startups faces in GTM is optimized to a lot of extent.
Correct.
So you achieve a proper product market fit, like in a very short course of time without burning a lot of money essentially.
Yes.
And the technological layer is also available for them to build essentially. So the building parts essentially comes in, building the transactional layer on the top of this ecosystem, building the user journey, user experiences, and things like that.
Yes.
So building is like quite easy. And the next thing which I would like to, emphasize is that a lot of startups and companies who want to build, they don't have enough places to learn about this ecosystem. What are the areas or what are the places you would recommend them where they can learn about this, ecosystem? What are the things they should always keep in mind, or places to go to learn about this ecosystem?
I think joining the fintech events, I think every month there's a big fintech event happens in Bangalore and Mumbai. You should, let's say, the upcoming, even I'm speaking on 16th, 17th March in Mumbai, that is even the RBI governor is joining, and
Wow.
separate round table of different leadership on the CBDC and adoption. So I think kind of finding those kind of places is a good idea to learn. I think there are dozen of happens every year to good learn from them.
So Madhu, where would you start your journey for like learning if you want to learn?
I would start from blockchain.
Okay.
I would understand the basics of blockchain. Then I'll come into smart contracts. Then I'll understand smart contracts. Then I'll understand how CBDC has implemented the blockchain technology, how the nodes are used in it, and how transaction or data redundancy between the nodes is done. Then I will learn. After all this is done, if I want to implement any reward points, reward coins, which will have my specific coins that will interact with e-rupee and make some transactions within my app, then I'll start building that ecosystem for our internal coins. So this is what I look at. And the earlier question you asked was regarding funding. Actually, since this is blockchain, this will fall under deep tech. And India this year already released 10,000 crores of fund of funds.
Yeah.
It's called the fund of the funds. And not only that, 6 of the banks among these 21 have an incubation program for banking.
Like ICICI Bank have.
Kotak ka bhi hai. So Kotak has Biz Plus.
So generally, a lot of startups and people in the community have this misconception that this is all for like showbazi and there is no real stuff happening. So from your insights, there is actually a lot of serious stuff happening. The governments are processing funds of like more than 10,000 crores worth of funds through funds of funds.
Yes.
And they have categorized this as a
Deep tech.
Deep tech.
So it's a great time to build, and
Yes.
and there is a lot of knowledgeable communities which are available, which you can go to, talk to people within the community, reach out to them, understand about the landscape.
This is the best time to build in India.
Correct.
Because this will be a topic of another day, but number of VCs, number of home offices in India has grown up by 500% in the last 2 years. Other than this funds of funds, number of then come back to
government
India
schemes,
seed
government
fund.
support, academia support.
So, but to start your journey, it's very important to understand the fundamentals of blockchain.
Yes.
It's very important for any startup or anyone to learn how exactly first blockchain works, because this entire ideology of CBDC is inspired from implementations of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Like the lot of technical basics essentially remains the same. The difference is that that is more in a DeFi and
This
and
is fine.
we're in a more enormous environment and unregulated environment. This is more into regulated environment, and this is more like an hybrid.
True.
And you could connect a lot of dots between traditional blockchain ecosystem and also traditional fintech ecosystem
Yes.
as per se. So guys, if you want to learn about blockchain and DeFi and how it works, you can definitely visit Indian Blockchain Institute. We have a lot of amazing sources there, and that's all NASCOM approved and everything. You can reach out to the team and start building your blockchain and DeFi journey. So now let's move towards our rapid fire round. So Kamlesh, crypto or CBDC?
I will choose CBDC because this is a more government and regulated currency rather than the crypto.
Madhu?
Crypto.
Why?
Freedom.
Freedom.
Everybody has their own perspectives. Both are almost same as you mentioned, but I'm a kind of freedom-seeking bird, so I will think that crypto, and I'm in that ecosystem for more than 12 years now. So
Okay. And do you see banks and physical cash disappearing in the next few years?
Definitely, it will disappear, and bank will have the different role to play.
physical cash, yes. Banks, transformation in rules.
Will CBDC replace UPI? Kamlesh?
I think both have a different purpose. UPI is all about payments. CBDC is a actual currency. So even I think maybe even CBDC can enable the UPI more efficiently delivering as the payment.
Madhu?
Same, UPI will be front face of CBDC. CBDC is the back end that we are talking about. You have your money in your bank that you're paying using UPI. Tomorrow you will have your e-money in your wallet, you will pay through UPI.
Correct.
UPI is an interface.
And will CBDC stop corruption?
I think especially Stop corruption in the government when we use DBTs and subsidies and programmable nature of the currency could solve many bottlenecks in the currency utilization. And obviously, if utilized properly, and I think that is the moment I think all the state government and RBI is pushing to the CBDC adoption in DBTs and subsidies.
On paper, 100%. Let's see in reality, a lot of things.
Okay. And one very interesting question. Can India become the next global fintech superpower with CBDC?
Yeah, definitely. So I think in India, I think we're always the DPI leader from last 10 years. I think everybody is following it. And if you see the current statistics of the CBDC adoption, we are far better than the other currencies. Yeah, other countries, let's say China is ahead, but if you take the other developing and developed countries, we are more mature infrastructure, tested and trial. So even we could become an example for them how CBDC could be used and build on CBDC infrastructure.
Madhu?
I think yes, we are heading in that direction. But if everything works in place, I think we will be in number one position because we already proved ourselves using UPI, as I also mentioned. Because people will believe you in any direction when you travel some and achieve something in that direction, which we already showed to the world. Number of online transactions, we proved what we are, how easily we can implement a technology in this big population, we proved it already. So I think world started believing us. Even French Prime Minister, when he came, he was excited to see how UPI transactions are done. Even before that, earlier Prime Minister was also the same. EU Prime Minister was amazed to see the results of UPI and removal of cash circulation. So I think we are heading the right way, and if everything falls in the same place, I think yes, we will be world number one.
Correct. And I think there is a good statement where like, if it's run in India, it can run anywhere.
Yes.
Yeah, true. That's a very good.
Because if you can scale for 1.4 billion people,
We can.
it can run
forget
anywhere
about
in
the
30
scale
crore,
there.
30 crore, 40 crore people.
It's a great concluding remark that if it can be built in India, implemented in India, it can be run all around the world. So friends, to conclude this, CBDC is going to definitely empower the Indian economy in a big way. It is going to unlock the hidden consumerism. It is going to unlock the bigger and the greater benefits of public policies and public policy distribution. It is going to unlock how today India handles things when it comes to money, right? From your basic transactions to middlemen, which a lot of our farmers use as a point of trust. This is going to have like a huge impact. It is a great time to build. There's a very vibrant ecosystem already in place. So guys, if you have any questions, you can definitely reach out to our experts. We will mention their profiles in the section below, so you can reach out to them, you can have a conversation with them, and they would be definitely happy to talk to you. And it's a great time to build in India. We can see that India is going to be the next superpower with its fintech ecosystem. We are seeing a very big partnerships happening all around the world, and also importantly, we are going to see how Indian rupee is going to become more global. Indian rupee is going to become more independent and free from all of these Western sanctions and everything. So thank you so much, and let's stay tuned for the next one. Bye bye.